Hey everyone, it's Erica. Today I am here to share a Tutorial Tuesday video with you, and I'm going to be showing you how to create a mixed media type background that is easy and quick to do. There is no gesso or prepping of cardstock involved, and you will not get all inky and messy, but you will come out with a mixed media look background for the end result. So these are the products that I pulled to use for my layout today, and I'm going to be using the Rainbow Roux collection. The papers, the cardstock, stickers, the foam stickers, the washi sheets, and I'm also going to be using the pea pod parts, and then I'll pull out a handful of stamps as well. Now my plan starting out was to create a colorful background with the 4 colors here that I have, and I pulled the colors from this border strip here. So that was my plan going into this layout, but it all changes. So you're going to need an acrylic block, a spray bottle with some water, a paintbrush, and some baby wipes and some napkins. So my design idea was I was going to create like a vertical design going down the layout with some strips of the paper, and I pulled different colored papers out, but in the end I'm only going to do some black and some yellow and some of the white pattern paper with the letters all over it. And then I will not be using the pink and the blue inks as well. I'm just going to use the black and the yellow, and then you'll see how it goes in just a minute. So I'm just cutting down some strips of paper, and I just not sure what size I want, so I just cut some random strips, and then I will trim them down as I go along. So you see I have a pink strip there, and then that rainbow striped as well. I will not end up using those, but sometimes your layouts just turn into something completely different once you get started. So I'm just trimming down the papers, trying to decide how I want this design to go. And this is a really easy design, just using a few strips of paper and then creating that fun mixed media background. In just a minute, we're going to start with the background, and I have a piece of white cardstock, and it's a heavy cardstock. And we're not going to be using a whole lot of water or anything, so you do not need to prep the cardstock. Just using a plain piece of heavy cardstock will be just fine. You will not get any warping or anything like that, and you'll still get a fun looking background. Now, like I said, I'm only going to be using 2 colors, but you could definitely use more colors than this. What I do is I like to, after I apply one color, I'll take a napkin or a paper towel and blot up some of the color so that it can dry quickly, and then I will apply the next color. So this is going to be pretty much the design and how my strips of paper are going to go. I'm going to kind of rough up the edges and crinkle them up a little bit just to add a little bit more texture. And I'm going to do that for all of the strips of paper that I have here. I have 4 different strips of paper. The photos of my son, Eli James, and he's got one of his many costume pajama thingies on, and he's drinking out of his favorite pineapple cup. And I thought this would be the perfect photo to go with this collection and use some of these pineapple icons that are in this collection. So I'm just placing a napkin at the top of the bottom of underneath my layout. I'm going to apply ink to this acrylic block, spray a couple squirts of water onto the acrylic block, and take the paintbrush and kind of mix it all together. Then I'm just going to start flicking the paintbrush all over the center of this layout, going up and down, getting all kinds of splatters all over, because I know that the design is going to go there in the center, so I'm going to concentrate all of the mists and the splatters and the stamping in the center of the layout. Super simple to do. I love the effect that it gives, and it's so easy, and it's not very messy at all. So I'm going to go in with the Midnight Catherine Pooler ink, add some water, and then add the black splatters the same way that I did the yellow. After I use the paintbrush, if there is any leftover ink on the acrylic block, I will just take the acrylic block and just kind of let it fall off of the acrylic block onto the cardstock to leave some bigger splatters. And then since it does have more water, I will just take a napkin and kind of soak up some of that water off of the paper. It doesn't mess up anything, it doesn't smudge, so it's really easy just to take the corner of a napkin, kind of roll it up just a little bit and lightly set it on that big splatter, and it'll soak up a lot of that excess water. So here are some stamps, and I just pulled out a bunch of stamps from Jillibean Soup that had tiny images, stars, circles. Some I think were like meant to be like the inside of flowers. It's just like tiny little dots. So I pulled those out as well, just something to add a little fun to the background. And I'm just going to apply them all over the center of this layout, going up and down, just randomly all over the place. And I'm using this black Midnight ink from Catherine Pooler Designs. It dries really quickly, and it gives these images a solid image. So I'm just going to go through all the stamps, and all of the products that I use will be linked in the Jillibean Soup blog post. So if you're interested in anything that I'm using, you can check out the blog post and get the links to the products there. So here is another stamp set, and I believe this one might be from Garden Harvest. And I just have this little, there's just like a little circular stamp with just a bunch of tiny little dots. And like I said, I think it's like the center of a flower from one of the other stamp sets. But I really like the little polka dot look that it gives to this background. And I'm just doing them randomly, just all over the page. There's some stars or some dots. It's just fun, a lot of fun. And I haven't done this kind of layout in a long time, and I had a lot of fun creating this layout. Just not thinking about it really, just having fun and creating the background. It's just fun to pull out some products and try to use them in a different way. Like these stamp sets, you know, they're meant to be for a center of a flower, and to use them as in a different way. It helps stretch out your products as well. So I'm just taking my Tim Holtz scissors here and just roughing up these edges of the layouts a little bit, just to get some fray going on and to make them all jaggedy and rigidy looking. I love the way that looks. And I'm going to start getting the layers how I want them to go on the layout. I love all the texture that these little strips. So there's only 4 little strips, but there's so much texture in them. It's so fun. I will end up stapling these three of the strips together, and then I'm going to pop them up on some foam adhesive for more dimension to the layout. And then I will begin to embellish the layout. I use every single embellishment from Rainbow Roux on this layout, and I had so much fun. It was fun to use these little pineapple embellishments for this layout, and I just love the black and the yellow and the white. I just think it really stands out. So I'm going to adhere this strip directly to the paper, and then the other 3 will be stapled together and then popped up on some foam adhesive. I thought about adding some stitching as well, but when I was doing this layout, it was kind of late, and I went against it, just because of all the noise and everything. So I'm just going to use some foam adhesive and get these adhered to the layout. And then I will get my photo placed down as well. I'm going to pop that up with some foam adhesive as well. And I'm going to first mat it on this black piece of paper from the Rainbow Roux collection. I'm just going to cut that out with my scissors. And then get this situated on the layout where I want it to go. And then I will start to get things going with the embellishing of the layout. And I just love all that color and stamping and all that fun that's behind these strips of paper and the photo once all of the embellishments are on the layout, and everything just goes together so well. So I'm going to pull out the pea pod parts from the Rainbow Roux and go through all of the little pieces that I want to use on this layout. I'm pulling a lot of the yellow and the black, anything with a pineapple, and a couple of the die cut words. And then I keep my embellishments in this little plastic container. I'm not even sure where I got these. I've had these for years, but when I open up an ephemera pack, I'll use this little container to keep all the little pieces together. And then while I'm creating the layout, I pull all my embellishments out and put them in like a little tray or something while I'm working. So I'm going to get my photo stuck down. I'm just peeling the back of the adhesive off. And then I'm going to start to add all these little die cut pieces to the layout. This layout came together so quickly with using just the yellow, the black, and the white, and the little pineapple icons. It was really, really easy just to pull out these colored embellishments and get this layout done. So I have these die cut words here, the cool and the smile. So I'm going to get those placed down. The smile will end up going directly to the paper, and then the cool, I will put some foam adhesive behind it to pop it up on the layout. So I got some little die cut hearts and the little die cut circles. I'm going to add these to the photo here on the side and get them stuck down. I'm going to pop up this little banner here with some foam adhesive. And then I have a little tab up here as well. I'm going to get that stuck down. And then add some foam behind this cool to have it popped up on the layout. This is just a really fun way to do something different to your layouts. Instead of using pattern papers, you can create a fun background with just some inks and some stamps. If you don't have a whole lot of stamps, you could just use the mist and just create a colorful black background in the back by flicking your color onto your cardstock. And if you don't have spray mist, the inks, I use my inks all the time to create the watercolor look. Just add that ink to the acrylic block and some water and a paintbrush, and you're good to go. So I'm just adding some of these washi strips down, just the little squares. There's one that says fave. There's a little pineapple with the sunglasses. I think there's one that says so cool. And I just love being able to get these added to this layout. Now I'm going to take some of the Rainbow Roux epoxy shapes, these little stickers, and get some of these added to my layout as well. I use the black and the yellow to go with the whole color theme that I've got going on here, and I love the texture that this adds to the layout. Pulling out some foam stickers because why not? And I'm going to add some of these black foam hearts to my layout. Then I have this little label here, and I'm going to add some letters from the Tiny Text Alphas here from Jillibean Soup, and I'm just going to put Eli James. And then the last thing I do is add some journaling with my We Are Memory Keepers typewriter, and that pretty much finishes up my layout. I will have some still shots for you guys at the end, and I hope you guys enjoyed this layout and that it inspires you to pull out some stamps and some inks and create a fun mixed media look background. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.